Good evening, everybody. My name is Pastor Gordon Anic, and I have been with you now for 2 months. And tonight, I would like to tell you that we have a brand new book that we are offering during this program. And the book is called Surprised by Love. You don't have this book because we did not offer it in the past. So please, call the number on the screen, and we would love to send you this book free of charge. I believe that it is going to help you in your Christian walk. Also, tonight, I would like to mention to you that we have come up with a brand new website that you can go to. It is called Inner Peace Ministries. As you know, on this program, we do not ask anybody to contribute money or to support us financially in any way, shape, or form. We are not going to ask you for financial donations. But what we do need to ask you for is to go to our website and look at some of the products that we have, sermons on DVDs, on CD, some of the booklets, books, and if you like any one of those products and you purchase them, you will be helping us to stay on air and keep bringing the good news of Jesus to you every Sunday night like we have been during the last 2 months. Today I want to talk about a couple of different things. You know, as you have been with me for the last few months, I have talked a lot about problems that we are dealing with and how to deal with our problems. Most of the phone calls that we receive on this program, when people call, they are asking us to pray with them about an issue that they have in their life. Some people have problems because they are going through a divorce, or they have problems with their children, or they have problems with their health. A lot of people have problems with their finances. No matter what your problem is, there is a way to deal with it. God loves you. You are His child. He does not want you to suffer or have issues in life. One person that called me, I picked up the phone because I also answer these phones on Sunday night. One person called me and talked to me and said, you know, Pastor Gordon, I don't know if it is God's will maybe that I am going through this illness and disease, and they described what was going on in their life. You know, and my answer was, God never wants His children to suffer. Suffering is the result of sin. Suffering and problems are the result of your enemy, Satan, who is trying to destroy your faith, to test your faith, to separate you from God. So tonight, I would like to share with you a couple of ways of how do you deal with your problems in your life. A lot of people deal with their problems simply by resigning to their fate. They just give up. Their problems become so overwhelming that they don't know where to go. They don't know how to deal with them anymore. So they stay at home, they sit in front of TV, they become paralyzed with inaction and fear and anxiety about their future. And I want to share with you a couple of ways of how to deal with your issues and problems and how to actually resolve them. There are 2 ways that you can do this. You can either resign and stay paralyzed and do nothing and accept your fate, or you can get organized and you can take action to deal with whatever issue you have. I heard the story of a person who was given only 6 months to live. And they were in a hospital bed, and they were going to spend their next 6 months in that hospital until the day they died. And instead of giving up, the story goes to say that this person surrounded themselves with good friends. The story says that this person ordered some of the comedies, movies, and began to watch them and to laugh and to have fun and to enjoy that period of time that they had left on this earth. The result was amazing because they decided to laugh and to have fun and to surround themselves with good friends. Their condition improved. Have you ever heard of something like that? It happens. If you have a good attitude can change your insides. It can change your gut. It can change your brain. It can change your outlook on life. And what you think is what you are. If you think positive thoughts, your life is going to be positive. If you think negative thoughts, your life is going to be negative. if you resign yourself to the idea that there is nothing that you can do about your problem, you're probably going to suffer for the rest of your life and you're not going to achieve anything. What you think is who you are. How you think is how your life is going to be. Many people are out there and they are saying there is nothing I can do. I am here to tell you different. You have a Father in heaven, God. Step number one that we should take every time when we have problems is to put together a plan how to get out of those problems and then go to God and lay our plans in front of Him. Share our plans with God. I want to read a text for you. It is found in Proverbs. I love the book of Proverbs. It is found in Proverbs chapter 16, verses 2 to 4. We may think we know what is right, but the Lord is the judge of our motives. Share your plans with the Lord, and you will succeed. Share your plans with the Lord, and you will succeed. You know, at one time I was a young pastor, and I was working in a nice, beautiful district with several nice churches. I was in a city that I loved, and all of a sudden I was told, after being there for 5 years, I was told, Gordon, you're going to have to move. You know, and I went to my knees, and I was working in the Rocky Mountain region. I went to my knees and I prayed to God, and I said, Lord God, you know, they are telling me that I'm going to have to move, and if I have to move within this region, please send me anywhere except Wyoming. I was sharing my desires with God. I didn't want to move. I was in a good place. All of a sudden, life changes. You have a job, next day you don't have a job. You have a family, next day you don't have a family. You have a wife, next day your wife walks out on you. You have a husband, next day you know he has a girlfriend and he's not with you anymore. Life changes constantly. How do you deal with that? In my situation, they told me that I was going to have to leave the church that I loved and move somewhere else, and they didn't tell me where. So I went to my knees and I prayed to God and I said, Lord God, anywhere but Wyoming. I don't know why at that time I didn't want to go to Wyoming. But you know what? I shared my plans with God. And I told Him what I wanted and what I didn't want to. And guess what happened? Within 2 or 3 weeks, I had a phone call and they told me that I was moving where else but to Wyoming. So sometimes you share your plans with God and you tell Him what you want, and then the other thing happens. What happens is what you didn't want. But I want to tell you something. When you share your plans with God, you are showing Him that you trust Him. You are showing Him that you are concerned about His opinion about your life. You are indicating to Him that He is important in your life, and God takes that seriously. I want to tell you, next 3 years I spent in Wyoming, and I had 2 churches. They were not big, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. It was some of the best time that I had in pastoring in my career. I really enjoyed it. And to this day, I love the state of Wyoming because I had a wonderful experience there. I met nice people. I had a wonderful, active church. It was the great time for me. And God knew this even before I prayed to Him. God knows your future. He knows where you're going. He knows where you're coming from. Share your plans with Him. Share your plans with the Lord, and you will succeed. And this is the step number 1 in dealing with your problems. Share your plans with the Lord, and you will succeed. Number 2, step number 2, don't be afraid. Proverbs 3:24-26 says, you will rest without worry and sleep soundly. So don't be afraid of sudden disasters or storms that strike those who are evil. You can be sure that the Lord will protect you from harm. You can be sure that the Lord will protect you from harm. Don't be afraid. When people have problems, the natural reaction is to become afraid, to get scared. When you get scared, when you get afraid, you don't think straight anymore. You make stupid decisions. Your brain is paralyzed. You don't know how to think right. when you are scared. So the Bible teaches us over and over again that as children of God, we should not be afraid. You can be sure that the Lord will protect you from harm. Even Jesus says, don't worry about the future. In other words, don't be anxious about the future. Don't be afraid for your future. Why? Because God will take care of you. If God takes care of the birds in the air and the flowers in the field, Jesus says, then how much more will He take care of you and of your problems? Have you ever been in a situation where your life was in danger? I was in a couple of car accidents, and I remember one in particular. I was driving an I-25 through Colorado in the middle of the winter, and the snowbank on the left and on the right was 5 feet tall, and I was in a small little Toyota Corolla, and all of a sudden, going at 60 miles an hour, I hit the patch of ice, and I couldn't do nothing. My car just started to spin around, and I was waiting for my car to hit the pole or something and for me to die. And the only thing that I could do at that moment, automatically, naturally, without thinking, the words, Jesus help me, came out of my mouth. That's all I could do. I didn't even have time to get scared. I just said, Jesus help me. And before I was finished saying that sentence, my car straightened out, and I was still going in the right direction where I was going in originally. God will take care of you. How many of you have experiences with God where He has taken care of you? Think about your past. Think about wonderful things that God has done in your life to protect you and to guide you and to be there with you. Those times when you were protected, that was God with you. Those times when you had problems and you ended up on top, that was God with you. Even if you didn't recognize Him. That's how much He loves you, and that's how much He cares for you, that even when you do not recognize Him, even when you're not aware of Him, He is there to take care of you. Don't be afraid. Step number 3, how do we get out of our problems? And I would like to suggest to you, work your way out of a problem. God gave you the abilities. God gave you the brain. He gave you the intelligence. He gave you the legs. He gave you the arms. He gave you the eyes. He gave you the ears. He enabled you to overcome any problem that is out there in front of you. Satan, he's going to come into your life, and he's going to put obstacles in front of you, and he's going to tell you, you are a bad person, God doesn't love you, you can't succeed, you will never amount to anything. But God says this, I have enabled you to be a successful person. I have given you the tools. I have given you the abilities made in the image of God to create, to overcome, to succeed, to make something out of yourself. Made in the image of God, you are made in the image of God. Listen to what Proverbs 12:11 says. The smartest man that ever lived on the face of this planet. Hard-working farmers have more than enough food. Daydreamers are nothing more than stupid fools. Let me read this again. Hard-working farmers have more than enough food. Daydreamers are nothing more than stupid fools. This is what King Solomon says. Throughout his book of Proverbs, he's talking about those people who work hard and who make something out of themselves. If you have a problem and you just resign yourself and you just sit down and don't do nothing about it, you're not going to succeed. You have to work hard to work your way out of that problem. Another text says, Proverbs 12:24, work hard and you will be a leader. Be lazy and you will end up a slave. Work hard and you will be a leader. Be lazy and you will end up a slave. I have a friend. I want to tell you this story really quick. I have a friend who lost their house. And they are supposed to move out of that house within a week. And they are so overcome with fear and so overcome with anxiousness, they don't know what to do. They're just paralyzed, sitting in their home, not knowing what to do. So, I had to go to them and talk to them and say, hey, you got to get up. You got to get up from your chair. You got to go out there and look for another place where you can live. If you allow Satan to control your thoughts and to control your life, he's going to paralyze you and you are not going to be able ever to do anything. You literally have to tell yourself, get up and do something. Get up and do something. Get out of that house. Get out of that chair. Get out of that dark room. Get out of that place where you are at right now and do something. Work your way out of your problems. Change your environment. Change your friends. Change your job. Change whatever it takes to change in order to work your way out of your problems. The Bible tells us, gives us a clear guidance that those who work hard are the ones who succeed. Those who are lazy, those who are paralyzed, those who don't do nothing, they are never going to succeed. So, here at those 3 steps again with dealing with our problems. Number 1, lay your plans in front of God. Tell Him what it is that you are planning, intending, and doing. And then He's going to bless you. Number 2, don't be afraid. Jesus says, don't worry because your Father in heaven is going to take care of you. And number 3, don't just sit there and wait for a miracle. Do something. Go out there and work your way out of your problems, and then God is going to come in alongside you and help you work your way out of your problems and solve all of your situations that are dragging you down. Well, we only have a few more minutes left tonight for this program, so I would like to shift gears and talk about something else. But before I do that, I just want to remind you once again to please call the number. If you have a need, a prayer need, where you would like me or one of our prayer warriors to pray with you and ask the Lord for a favor for you, then please call the number. And also, if you call tonight, we have a brand new book that we are giving away to everybody just for the asking, no money involved, Surprised by Love by Elizabeth Vieira Talbot. A nice little book. I think you're going to enjoy it and learn a lot about grace and love. So please call the number on the screen. Also, I wanted to tell you, and I already mentioned it earlier in the program, to please go to our website, Inner Peace Ministries, and there you will find different resources, sermon series that I have preached over the years. You will find different DVDs and CDs and materials that you can purchase, buy, and therefore help us that way to stay on the air and keep bringing you the message from the Scripture. I want to shift gears a little bit, as I said, and talk to you about the events that are taking place in this world. I preach a lot about prophecies and things that are about to happen in the world around us. We have a major situation with Israel and Iran that could explode into a major world war with all kinds of people and countries getting involved and trying to literally destroy each other. Prime Minister Netanyahu was in our country recently and had talks with Washington, D.C., with President Obama and the Congress, and something is cooking over there. Something is taking place. And the question is, do you understand the Bible prophecy well enough to understand what is going on in this world and to be ready for the second coming of Jesus? Jesus is coming, and the events of this world are proving that. So over the next few weeks, I will be talking prophecy, and I will be talking about what is about to come on this world. One of the things that bothers me personally, and you may not agree with me tonight, is this whole issue of civilian people being killed in Syria, where the government is actually killing their own people because those people have voiced their opposition to the government that has been in place for years and years and years. What bothers me about that whole situation is that here in the United States, we are basically sitting on the sidelines and waiting, I don't know for what, for something to happen before we intervene. I personally believe that God has blessed this country beyond any other country in the world. I don't believe that we should be the policemen of the world. I don't believe that we should go into all kinds of different wars all over the planet. I am anti-war. I think war is a bad thing where innocent people die by millions. To this day, people are suffering the effects of war in Vietnam and even around the world in Japan from the World War II. To this day, 60, 70 years later, the effects of war, they linger forever. I don't support it. But at the same time, I don't support any government who goes out there and kills their own people. And I believe that no, we are not the policemen of the world. We should not intervene in any situation out there. But there are times when the world cannot just watch. We had that happen in Rwanda. In Rwanda, in a matter of several weeks, million people were hacked to death. And, back then we didn't do anything. Nobody did anything. And basically, all of those people were just slaughtered. And I don't think that as a country that God has blessed, we should just stand and watch our neighbor get hurt. If somebody was attacking your neighbor next door and trying to kill them, at least you would call the police or do something to try and help them. And I believe that the time has come when the United States has to do something because nobody else will. I believe that we do have a moral high ground in the world, but I also believe that in order to keep it, sometimes you need to prevent the murder and the slaughter of the innocent people and then worry about the politics later. So I think sometimes you have to do the right thing regardless of how much it is going to cost. You have to do the right thing if God has blessed you. So that's where I stand on that particular issue. I hope that it is going to get resolved really soon here. And I'm telling you this because in the next few weeks I will be talking more about prophecy. And again, I'd like you to go to our website and look. We have a whole series on the prophecy there, and you can find it there, and you can get it for yourself and your friends in order to better understand the second coming of Jesus and the events that are going to precede that second coming of Jesus. So please go to our website and see if you find out something interesting there that you could use for your own uplifting and for that of your friends. I want to close tonight with a tragic story that took place in Indiana, I understand, over the last week or so. As you know, there was a number of terrible tornadoes that just ripped through the country and destroyed whole cities and towns, and people died, and people lost their homes, and people disappeared, and the whole future of some of those people has been erased forever because of those few minutes that the tornado came through. There is a story of a woman, and this is online on the internet, of a woman who knew that the tornado was coming after her house, and she grabbed her two kids, a boy and a girl, and she took them down into the basement. I think the kids were 8 and 5 years old. She took them down into the basement, covered them in blankets, and then she laid on top of them to protect them. Well, the tornado came and just ripped that house to shreds, took it apart. And she recounted later that she felt beams and brick and all kinds of stuff falling on top of her, and she could feel pain, but she didn't know what was going to happen with her. They thought they were all going to die. Well, by the time the tornado went through, the house was gone. There was nothing left above the ground. She survived. And her two kids, they were alive. Not even a scratch on them. But during that process, that mother, Stephanie Decker, she lost both of her legs. By the time the neighbors came and the sheriff came and the ambulance came, they took her to the hospital, and she lost one leg above her knee and she lost another leg below her knee. What a tragic story. Well, at the same time, what a wonderful story. That you have a mother who has saved her two kids, and they are alive and well, and they have a future ahead of them because of the sacrifice that she made. This mother reminds me of God, who sent Jesus, his son, to come to this earth and to die for you and me. He came to this earth and he put us on the ground and wrapped us in his love and in his righteousness and laid on top of us and took all of that punishment on your behalf. So that's why I said earlier today you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be scared because you have Jesus who loved you, and you can see the love. You can see the love of Jesus in the love of this mother that she had for her kids. If you go to on our website, you will see the link to this story, and you can read about it. And also in that link, you will find out that the community has set up a fund for this family at the local bank, and you will find the link to that, and you can go to that link and donate a little bit of money to help that family. Donate directly into the bank where that has been set up. So you can find all of that information on our website, Inner Peace Ministries, and you can make a difference. It is good to be a follower of Jesus. It is good to turn on the TV and hear a good message that lifts you up and that helps you to deal with your problems and with your issues. But the Bible also tells us that we should not just be the listeners and the hearers of the Word, but that we should be the doers. In other words, it's not enough to just listen and go to church. It is also important to make a difference for somebody else. And right now, I cannot think of anybody else that I would recommend that you help to. I can't think of anybody else who is more deserving than this lady, Stephanie Decker, who has made such a sacrifice for her kids. So please go to the website and see if you can make a difference in their lives. Those kids, their mother and father, they planned for them to go to school and to go to college and to have a good life. Now that she has lost her legs, that's going to be pretty tough. But you and I can make a difference in their life. So I hope that you will take that seriously and actually tonight think of somebody else and make a difference in somebody else's life. Once again, next week we are going to start our prophecy series, and I hope that you will remain with us. We are here on this channel, from now on every Sunday night. And please call the number on the screen if you need somebody to pray for you and if you would like to receive this free book, which I think is going to make a big difference in your life. God bless you, and thank you for watching our program on a regular basis. Thank you for all of your phone calls, and thank you for all of your encouragement. God bless you. Have a good night, and we will see you next Sunday night.